Welcome to Module 4 The Thief's Story by Ruskin Bond. Anil and Hari Singh are the two characters in this story. Who is the thief? Any idea? And what does he steal? Gold, money, or jewelry? Here is the story. Come on, let's enjoy. A 15-year-old boy meets Anil, who was watching a wrestling match. All of you might have watched a wrestling match. And he was so much involved in watching the wrestling match. The boy goes to him and flatters him by telling that he looks like a wrestler. The boy soon makes an acquaintance with Anil. He wants to be with Anil so that he can cheat and make money out of him. Anil does not realize that, and he also indulges in a talk with the boy. He tells two lies: that his name is Hari Singh and that he knows to cook, because Anil said that if he knew to cook, he can feed him. So he wanted to be with Anil in order to make a theft out of him. Anil takes him home and learns that he does not know to cook. The first meal cooked by Hari Singh was given to stray dogs. That means that his cooking was very bad. So Anil asked him to go away from home. But Hari, with his appealing smile, wins Anil's heart and stays with him. The boy actually smiled with effort so that he could win the heart of Anil. He stays with him, cooks for him, learns cooking from him, and Anil teaches him to read and write also. The boy learns to write his name and also learns how to calculate addition, subtraction, such things. He knew that education means a lot. He could not be educated early in his life, and now that he had got a chance from Anil to learn, Hari Singh knows the importance of education. He is earning by theft. He knows that he could earn more if he is educated by good means. Education is the most important wealth that any individual must have. Any sort of education is valuable to any sort of person. Hari earns the trust of Anil, and Anil trusts him so much that he hands over the keys of the house to Hari. Hari could enter into the house even in Anil's absence. Hari Singh would cook for Anil, clean his clothes, and keep the house tidy. And also he goes to buy some groceries for the house. Anil wrote for magazines. He made money by fits and starts. So sometimes he had money with him, and whenever he has money with him, he spends it with his friends. And when he does not have money with him, he stays in his house very calmly. As he wrote for magazines, he earned sometimes, but he could not earn other times. Hari too earned little money by taking off 1 rupee from the money that was given to buy the groceries. Once Anil brought home some money, and Hari, what did he do? Let's find out in the next module. Now, here is reading section for you.
Story.
All of you take your book and read.
When I met Anil, and though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind, and simple enough for my purpose. I hadn't made much luck of late and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. You look a bit of a reserve yourself, I said. A little flattery helps in making in friends. So do you? He replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. Well, I said honestly, I do wrestle a bit. What's your name? Hari Singh. I lied. I took a new name every month. That kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well oiled wrestlers who were grunting, lifting, and throwing each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said. But I can't pay you. I thought that over for a minute. Perhaps I had misjudged my man. I asked, can you feed me? Can you cook? I can cook, I lied again. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. He took me to his room over the Jumna sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. But I just hung around, smiling in my most appealing way, and he couldn't help laughing. Later, he patted me on the head and said, never mind. He did teach me to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies, usually making a profit of about a rupee a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. Anil made money by fits and starts. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next. He kept worrying about this next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazines, a sure way to make a living. One evening, he came home with a small bundle of notes, saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night, I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. I had been working for Anil for almost a month and, apart from cheating on the shopping, had not done anything in my line of work. I had every opportunity for doing so. Anil had given me the key to the door, and I could come and go as I pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met, and that is why it was so difficult to rob him. It was easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed, but it's difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he is being robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of the work. Well, it's time I did some real work. I told myself, I am out of the practice, and if I don't take the money, I will only waste it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me